But when it comes to Alex Jones and people of the older generation that listened to that conspiratorial content back in the day, when it was against surveillance society and it was against the wars and it was against torture, and it was against, the corporate takeovers, and it was against GMO foods being so in abundance, and the attack on all things organic and the attacks on a natural way of life. Those were legitimate issues. And then things went downhill with the next level of social media and algorithmic control. And a lot of these people showed themselves to be soulless to me, to be under some sort of a trance. So what we can say and will say about this individual at this moment in time is that he's doing this during solar maximum. He's drinking, he's showing signs of possession, he's hateful, and so are many others. And I'm the only one that has pinpointed this moment in time in which we're going to see a lot of that behavior. Meaning, in the coming years, we could see a reduction in it, but the dark side is AI. The dark side is robotics. Basically continuing the agenda where the humans don't have the stomach to do it. You know what I mean by that? Because you should. You should be able to wrap your mind around the idea they're going to use machines and robots to do murders and killings and deportations if the humans choose to not do it. Whether they become more conscious or become sick, right? They may not become conscious, but they may break down like him and become sick and self-destruct.
More attractive to see in our entire life. And you see everyone with these perfect homes and all these political
jealousy, envy.
People with these perfect ideas. Life isn't like the internet. It's very messy. It's very hard. It's very difficult.
There's no way this guy was stuck on somebody's couch with the amount of money he was pulling in. So he's complaining, like a victim again and again and again when he has been living a corrupt life. So just bear with me here. Let's just go ahead and go. Okay, this is what I read last night. And it basically gets into this whole thing about, here we are, yeah. Basically gets into the scandals in his personal life. Not a good Christian, okay, sleeping around, same thing with the other women. It's some sort of a scandal with Sarah Stock. I don't have, the attention span to follow all the details here. But he's been a proponent of traditional or trad family values. He had an affair. And the affair was with his employee, an e-girl, an influencer. Right, so they get into his background. He has 2 children, married in 2020. He took a month-long absence from his live stream show on Rumble, right as we've had the chaos going on with the solar flares and what's been happening with Iran and the sexual assaults and the killing of protesters there, or whatever is taking place there. And, of course, what ICE is doing, and Israel continuing to expand its attack. There is a connection with all of this. Let's see. This is where we are now as far as geomagnetic activity, and this is the 10-day level. Now we look at this is the last 10 days. We look at the spike in geomagnetic activity around the 5th of February, and it was right at this point in time that he was being exposed on the internet. So there was a strong emotional, agitated, angry reaction to revelations about him. This is dated February 5th. Wow. This is it, February 5th. So this also relates to, like, there'll be something intelligent going on with journalists and writers when there's an increase in solar activity. They'll have all of a sudden, like, some energy or inspiration, and dots will be connected. So dots were connected in this and by a lot of people. We're not going to get into all of that. but I followed some of these links. It's basically a story about his meltdown, his breakdown, being hypocritical. He was fired from the Blaze after groping a coworker, right? Groped a coworker, sexual assault, but they're going to blame the Muslims. Just like with Bondi. White people are often going to blame Muslims or immigrants or Indian people for these things while giving their own people a pass, their own dads a pass, their own boyfriends a pass, their own girlfriends a pass for things that they've done. You know, there's a lot of things that have made men angry about their relationship to women in this culture, and they have actually gone overseas and used that aggression regarding their breakdown with their family or their relatives. They've actually used that. Taking something off the stove. They've actually used that breakdown in community and family as an excuse to kill other people, right? So there's actually a lot of messed up things that were happening in America that was becoming very violent before 9/11, however you feel about that day. And then after 9/11, a whole lot of aggressive dudes had a group of people to blame for their problems, so they went over to the killing fields, right? So this is an example of what we can pick up on, and it's very important that you understand that this is the real nature of consciousness when you're dealing with people that hate others, that create hateful content. Even if they pretend to be healthy, even if they pretend to be intelligent, they're actually falling apart.
I now have to leave my hotel room because of a flood. This was very weird.
So he deleted this and he posted it, and he seems to be having like, he just might be drunk and stupid, but they're thinking that he's hallucinating.
No one believes me that my life doesn't make any sense right now, but this is the way back to my hotel room, and it doesn't make any sense. I now have to leave my hotel room because of a flood. This was very weird.
So he's on a binge, and he has a lot of money. He's not a victim. He has a lot of money punching down on people that in some cases are fleeing war. Okay, and so because of this abundance of resources, and we're actually closing here, because of this abundance of resources, because he's not really struggling, because he doesn't know what it's really like to struggle, he's breaking down from within, and this can describe a great deal of people on both the left and the right, from Portland, Oregon to Dallas, Texas to New York. There's a whole lot of people, right, that live their lives as victims. Victims of this group, victims of that group, while themselves not actually doing anything to help anybody.
But
right. So we are unfortunately in a world of hate where a lot of men in general, especially certain types of men, are marginalized as undesirables. He plays a role in this, and then other people play a role in this. And it's not just women like Bondi or the women from the Department of Homeland Security, but those white women are instrumental in this. Okay? And so while they're not looking for the exception to the rule when they're demonizing non-white people or mixed race people or people with genetics from my father's land, they're not looking for the exception to the rule. And with me, after everything that's been done to me by the people of this culture and society, I am looking for the exception to the rule. I am looking for a way that I can have a reunion with conscious white people if a new day might arrive, to where they can feel me, to where they can understand me, to where they can have empathy for me, to where they're not going to be thrown off by my energy. To where, again, in the future, they may be willing to do a healing or a ceremony or something. And right now, a lot of people have been screwed up and they can't see it.
Here, okay?
This is just one manifestation as we close. So how might this be manifesting in your world or those around you? How might they also be playing this out at 1:30 as they leave the bar in downtown Dallas, in downtown Portland, in downtown Austin, in downtown New York, Manhattan?
Very bizarre. So there's some water moving here. Okay, cool. Won't walk in that. My feet are wet. And then we got some flooding, I guess. Okay, it's falling on me.
He's just drunk. I don't think he's hallucinating.
But what even is going on, right? There's a
Well, where is he?
thing.
Was this from the recent storm? I think it was.
Guess I can take a seat and actually rest. But
I think you should do that. I think you should get sober. I think you should get some spirituality. I think you need to find the exception to the rule. I think you need to get away from that soda, and you need to find yourself, a person who's half-half. Like me, right? Meet the first person in your life that was involved in your own, not your own like demographic or your own like, area of conversation, but has been involved in trying to share stuff on the internet in my own way, help America as someone who's another. Okay? They should be interested in the exception to the rule, including the left, and they're not. I am looking for the exception to the rule. That's where you come in on this newsletter. Let me know if you are, and with that, we'll see you then. We'll see you next time.